Using this pH meter, let us try to understand a different kind of pH metric titration. The titrations which involve the use of pH meter is called as pH metric titration. What is this pH metric titration is all about? In a pH metric titration, we have a reaction of an acid and a base, and where the pH is determined by plotting a titration curve, and this titration curve has pH on the y-axis and the volume of the titrant on the x-axis. Before we go further, we should also know that what is the meaning of a titration curve. A titration curve is nothing but a graph between pH of the analyte and the volume of the titrant. So, I repeat, titration curve is nothing but a graph between pH of the analyte and the volume of the titrant. And what is the meaning of a analyte and what is the meaning of a titrant? Titrant is a solution whose concentration is fixed or whose concentration is known, and this titrant is always taken in the burette, and it is added drop by drop to the solution of unknown concentration. This solution of unknown concentration is called as the analyte. We are trying to add a titrant from a burette to a analyte. And one more important thing is that the concentration of titrant is known, but the concentration of analyte is to be analyzed or to be determined. And from this actually acid base titration, we are finding the equivalence point. And what is this meaning of equivalence point? It is the stage in this acid base titration where the amount of titrant added is enough to saturate the analyte. Whenever we are trying to add the titrant from the burette, a sufficient amount of titrant is required to neutralize the concentration of the analyte. This point we call it as equivalent point. And from this video lecture, we are going to find out the equivalence point from the graph, where we are trying to plot pH on the y-axis and the volume on the x-axis. And this actually equivalence point can be known only from the pH metric titration curves. At the equivalence point, the number of moles of base is just equal to the number of moles of acid. If at all we are talking about an acid base titration, we should know that at an equivalence point, the number of H plus ions is definitely equal to the number of OH minus ions. Depending on the kind of titrant used and the kind of analyte being determined, we can classify titrations as strong acid versus strong base titration, weak acid versus strong base titration, weak base versus strong acid titration, and weak base versus weak acid titration. Based on the base and the acid, we are going to get a different kind of titration curves or different kind of graphs where we plot a graph between pH on the y-axis and the volume of the titrant add on the x-axis. Let us try to understand how we obtain these kind of titration curves using different kind of acid base titration. Before we try to use a pH meter, we are supposed to standardize the pH meter and calibrate the pH meter. This standardization of the pH meter involves to switch on the instrument and wait for 10 to 15 minutes so that it gets warmed. We are supposed to ensure that the machine, that is the pH meter, should be warmed well enough before it can be used for any acid base titration determination. Once it gets warmed up, the next process is the calibration of this pH meter using different pH solution. Following are the steps involved in calibration of the pH meter. The pH meter is to be first dipped in a basic buffer solution of pH value 7. We try to get a certain value, we are going to calibrate to exactly 7.0. Once we calibrate to 7, we are supposed to wash the probe of the pH meter using deionized water so that there is no contamination, and followed by wiping with a soft tissue roll. And once we have done this process, we are going to again calibrate using a buffer of 4 followed by a basic buffer of 9.2. This calibration ensures that our pH meter is ready for determination of any unknown acid. We have done the calibration. We are supposed to clean the probe with distilled water, and we are supposed to use for our titration experiments. To start the titration experiment, we are supposed to take a acid. Okay, so we are talking about a acid based titration. Here the acid used is a HCl acid, and this HCl acid is a strong acid which we know from our previous experiment. And this acid can be taken in a beaker or a conical flask, and the probe is connected to the pH meter. And since it is a very strong acid, we know very clearly that a pH value of nearly 1 to 2 is obtained from the scale. Shows that this HCl is a very strong acid whose concentration has to be analyzed. Here HCl is a analyte, and we are going to use a strong base, that is sodium hydroxide, as a titrant. Measure the pH value of the unknown HCl solution. We try to fix sodium hydroxide in a burette, and we keep on adding drop by drop of sodium hydroxide to this analyte. So sodium hydroxide is the titrant, and HCl is the analyte whose concentration or whose normality or whose strength has to be determined at the end of the experiment. We should make sure that at the maximum we are supposed to add only 1 ml of titrant, that is sodium hydroxide, to the analyte. And after addition of each, note down the change in the pH values. Whenever we see that we are having a pH value of nearly 1.5 on addition of sodium hydroxide from the burette, the concentration of H plus ions will decrease, because the OH minus ions actually from the burette, they start neutralizing the H plus ions present in the beaker or the conical flask. Finally, a graph is plotted against the volume of the titrant added, that is the sodium hydroxide, on the x-axis, and the pH of the resultant analyte solution on the y-axis. Graph is of this character. So we can see here very clearly that the concentration of the H plus ions were high at the beginning of the experiment before the addition of sodium hydroxide from the burette. At the time the pH was almost 1 to 1.5. As we keep on adding the OH minus ions, so there is acid base neutralization reaction, and this acid base neutralization reaction will increase the pH, and it will keep on increasing at some point of time when it reaches the equivalent point. At this equivalent point, the concentration of the OH minus ions from the burette is just equal to the concentration of H plus ions in the beaker or the conical flask. Once it has reached the equivalence point, so the pH value will slow down and will get a stage where the pH of the resultant solution is almost basic, because we have added a sufficient amount of sodium hydroxide ions from the burette. Let us try to understand the titration curve on taking sodium hydroxide in the beaker and HCl in the burette. In this case, we are trying to say that sodium hydroxide is the analyte and HCl is the titrant with a known concentration. When you check the curve, the titration curve or the graph of pH versus volume of acid added, the graph is exactly inverse to the graph what we have observed in the previous case. We can say that for a acid based titration, we can have actually what we call two different kind of titration curve based on the analyte used. If at all we try to take an acid as analyte, we get a graph of this shape. If at all we take a base as the unlight, we get a graph of this kind. Both the graphs are complementary to each other, where the equivalence point is exactly 7. Let us try to understand the titration curve of a weak acid with a strong base. In this actually situation, we are going to take sodium hydroxide as the titrant and acetic acid as the unlight. And this acetic acid is a weak acid which has a minimum acid dissociation constant. Okay, so when compared to HCl, acetic acid will have less acid dissociation constant. We can see that we are having a pH value more than 7. It is not exactly 7 as we have seen in the case of a strong acid, strong base titration curve. Why is it so? Because this acetic acid, being a weak acid, it has got a strong conjugate base. And this conjugate base, on reacting with the water molecule, will give acetic acid plus OH minus ions. And this OH minus ions actually will create a basic condition. The equivalence point is exactly not to 7, the equivalent point is more than 7, sometimes it may be 8 to 8.5. Let us try to understand the titration curve of the strong acid as well as weak acid. So you can see here there is a difference of a strong acid and a weak acid. Okay, so this tells very clearly that for a strong acid the pH actually is exactly 7 at the equivalence point, and for a weak acid it is more than 7. And we can also have a titration curve of a weak base with a strong acid, where we try to take HCl as the titrant and ammonium hydroxide as the analyte. So in those cases we can see that the equivalence point is less than 7, because we know that ammonium hydroxide, since is a weak base, it is having a conjugate acid, and this conjugate acid is going to react with the water molecules to form ammonium hydroxide plus H plus ions, and this H plus ions will create a acidic solution. For a weak base and a strong acid, we can have the equivalence point less than 7. Finally, we can also have the titration curve of a weak base, that is ammonium hydroxide, and with a weak acid, that is acetic acid. This is the nature of the titration curve for a weak base with a weak acid. For a weak acid with a weak base, we start with a low pH value, and it is very difficult to find the equivalence point from the titration curve. Let us try to summarize the different type of titration curve. The equivalence point of this acid base reaction, okay, is the stage where we are having sufficient quantity of acid to sufficient quantity of a base, and the pH of the solution at the equivalence point is depending on the strength of an acid as well as the strength of a base. And how is it so? For a strong acid strong base titration, pH 7 is the equivalence point. For a weak acid and a strong base titration, the equivalence point is greater than 7. For a strong acid and a weak base, the equivalence point is less than 7. In this way, we are trying to understand the different kind of titration curve. Once we find out the titration, the next step is the calculation of the strength or the normality. We can find the normality of the unknown acid using the formula V1N1 is equal to V2N2, where N1 is the normality of the acid to be determined, and V2 is the volume of the base which we obtained from the titration curve, and N2 is the normality of the base which is used as a titrant whose concentration is known. Suppose V1 is 20 ml, that is the volume of the analyte is 20 ml, we can find out the normality of the acid using the simple formula. Once we have calculated the normality, we just have to multiply with the equivalent weight. So since it is a HCl solution, the equivalent weight is 36.5. Okay, so this will give the value in gram per liter. So in this way we can find out the concentration or the normality of the unknown acid. Usage of pH metry has got some advantage as well as disadvantage. Let us try to highlight the advantage of a pH meter. When compared to this pH paper, so the pH meter gives the exact values, okay, and it gives the value of 0.01th of the pH unit. This is the most basic advantage of using a pH meter. And the pH meter, it cannot be disposed once we purchase, okay. So it's a one-time investment for gaining accurate results, and we just have to calibrate, and this calibration is inbuilt in the modern day pH meters. This can be done very easily, and the values are reproducible and they are stable over a long period of time, and this portable pH meter can be easily used from one place to another at the point of experimentation. Okay. So apart from this, we should also know that this pH paper is very cheap when compared to pH meter, and if at all we are trying to take the readings occasionally, we just have to depend only on the pH paper when compared to the pH meter, and utmost care should be taken in maintaining the pH meter, where the probe has to be regularly washed with distilled water, because it may lead to some kind of contamination, and this contamination sometimes will damage the probe. It has to be taken care of while usage of a pH meter. We have come to the end of this video lecture. So in this video lecture, we have understood the construction of a glass electrode and the working of a pH meter. And using this pH meter, we have understood a different kind of titration curve, or the graphs which are obtained by plotting pH on the y-axis and volume of the titrant on the x-axis, and finally we have taken some of the advantages and limitations of using a pH meter. I have sufficiently covered all the points of this pH meter. If at all you have got any doubts, please don't hesitate me to contact at this email or WhatsApp to my number. Thank you for your patience.